I didn't think I could make it in time. I'm slowly losing sight. I can't see.
Fucker, I'm out mags.
Oh, that's not good. Oh god. God. Okay.
This video on the screen is a gameplay video from No More Room in Hell 2, a sequel to the original game that had been promised to us for the past 8 years. This will be my first unofficial review on my channel, and I hope to keep your attention as I portray my thoughts. Some will be presented with reasonable explanations, as much as they can be, and some will be said with genuine frustrations riddled within shattered expectations and hope. I had a fair amount of time spent within No More Room in Hell 2. Whether it may be with friends or solo queue, I had plenty of opportunities to explore gameplay mechanics and design choices with this release. I'm hoping to refer to a few titles, separated into 4 parts as you see on the screen listed for you. I'll do my utmost best to communicate my thoughts in the hopes of avoiding potential misunderstanding that may appear in the comment section. Although, I kindly request you to acknowledge that this is a video expressing my quote-unquote personal opinion approach to this game. Personal underlined here. No intention to upset anybody here, but to provide constructive criticism along with my frustration upon the release of long awaited sequel. So, sit back, grab a blanket, some snacks, and allow me to hope you enjoy what may be considered a rookie review video to be pleasant for you. In the meantime, let's get into Let's talk about Scrap's promises. Unfortunately, we have been provided with multitude of assurances over the years. As official developers, Lever Games had provided satisfactory graphical evidence supporting promises of content in the works of No More Room in Hell 2 development, encouraging the core fan base of No More Room in Hell, and none made it to the launch of the game. Let me clarify that this is not a statement of putting blame on Lever Games, as they have been excited to work with another game development company in the hopes of pushing their idea just to provide us a love letter-like sequel to the original with extended gameplay properties instead of visuals, but non-utilization of existing assets during engine version shift. Any developers watching this are familiar with asset stores. Quicksil Mega Scans, Unity Asset Store for example. Pre-assets are ready to use for the utilization of ongoing projects to save time. Before the shift of development team from Lever Games to Torn Banner Studios, we have been a witness to the creation of assets. Playtest videos with the weapon and environment assets officially designed by Lever Games that have been entirely scrapped and not been utilized. This led to a release of a heartbreakingly unfinished game with a shameless $30 price tag due to the rebuilding assets from scratch, which was not enough time for them to do in a year or two. And unfortunately, an early access title is not going to save this game. Along with this, expectancy that came with reputation. Torn Banner Studios, I had my fair share of experience with their previous releases, Chivalry, Chivalry 2, and for their theme and genre, it was perfect. It made sense and the mechanics felt dynamic. This gave them a reputation and an increase of hope in the No More Room in Hell community. Expectancy of visual improvements, which they did deliver at the initial release. The only good things I appreciated were the environment design. They had perfectly captured the dreadful consequences of an apocalypse. Player animations were improved and first-person animations of handling items were professional and so on. Unfortunately, everything else is lacking, including the zombies along with the servers being inadequate, graphical bugs were not sorted out, hit detection and combat gameplay feeling unresponsive, which was a shocker to me, and the game, just to put it simply, is not in a functional state. This wasn't the only thing that upset the players. There are poor shifts and design choices made by Torn Banner. I'm sorry. Assembling a zombie shooter extraction game and slapping a No More Room in Hell title upon it is not the way to go, man. Declining an existing core gameplay that the community was looking forward to years before the release with teasers wasn't clever. I admire the ideas they had in mind with permadeath characters and open world map, as it is innovative and can be utilized. But there are few core mechanics I have listed that were absent in the sequel, which were the mechanics that made the original entry stand out. This was a disappointing surprise, as these core mechanics were the root elements of the teasers that got scrapped after Torn Banner Studios took over. Monotone zombie design. The one on the left with the red frame is the current zombie variants that hunt you down during your gameplay. They are just humans with paleness conditions, as if their blood had been drained out. The one on the right with a green frame is a zombie variant from earlier teaser videos that Lever Games compelled us with. Zombies that looked dreadful with the impact of environmental design. As to why the early builds of zombie models were scrapped and not improved upon, I don't have the answer to that. Removal of sensible zombie variants. Don't get me wrong, there are variants of zombies when it comes to appearance. What I'm referring to are zombies that appear normal, but are stronger. The implication of stronger zombies in this game is more ketchup smearing on their outfits and their red glowing eyes, and it doesn't make sense. In the original entry, we have been provided with a multitude of variants. Military zombies can tank more damage, as this makes sense due to the body armor they have equipped. And there are times when some can also run, which makes it a short but terrifying experience. Runner zombies were easy to take down if you were a good shot, or had plenty of ammo to spare, which is a rarity in the first game, unless there are more than 2 runners at your back as well. Good luck. Crawler zombies were hard to spot if they roam between the hordes of zombies. Very easy to kill, but they blend in too well with the pile of bodies left behind, making them unexpected leg nibblers. Child zombies. As it is a dreadful reminder of how dark an apocalypse can be, they are sensibly small, fast, and hard to attack. They don't attempt to bite you, but hit you to give you a bleeding status, making you unable to sprint. Loot, ammo variants, and scarcity. Loot and ammo variants have been significantly reduced, which I will be listing on the screen. If there's anything I miss, I'll check the comment section, as the contents of the list are the ones I came across during my gameplay with the sequel. Ammo variants and scarcity have been my disappointment, as they have been extremely revised. You will certainly not run out of ammo if you know where to look, and so far, every location you visit consists of supply storage. You will have more than 100 bullets, not for a single weapon, but all the weapons you carry with you. Your only limitation is the inventory space, making the reliance on your melee weapon no longer a requirement. The ammo type on the list is named exactly as it's named within the game. It's no longer defined in depth like 45 ACP or 9mm, which made it also pointless to manually check your ammo type by observing the gun. Gone are the old days of picking through ammo boxes you come across and finding out which gun it goes along with. Absence of infection system. One of the remarkable elements that made fighting against zombies was infection in the original game, making them more of a threat besides their high damage swings. Once infected, there wasn't much of an option but to delay the inevitable with pills, or get rid of the infection if you were lucky enough to find gene therapy that was very rare to come across. With the infection system being absent in the game, so is the medication for it. It was a shocker for most of the community members, as this feature was absent upon release, despite this feature being displayed to us with the teasers. However, according to their future content update, this feature will be implemented again. Let's hope they do it right. No focus while aiming down sights. This feature is no longer necessary in the sequel, though it made sense to allow players to focus while aiming down sights in the original entry. The playable characters were civilians to face the circumstances of a zombie apocalypse with inexperienced handling of weapons. As there were various weapons in the game, the most accessible weapons were Beretta, Glock, or MP5, as they all used 9mm ammo type. In the standard difficulty of original entry, zombies took 2 shots to the head with 9mm ammo variant weapons. Letting players to stand still for 5 seconds or so to enter the focus mode allows the player to fire impactful shots, 1 bullet at a time. This addition was personally a great feature as there were ammo scarcity and genuine thought of ammo reserving at the back of your mind. You either have to make a count or face the potential consequences that may occur later on, which may even lead to your demise. Removal of the last resort choice. As mentioned in the earlier subject, with an absence of infection taken over to your character and no further medication to delay or get rid of the infection, this feature along with it doesn't exist. This feature was an iconic addition to the first No More Room in Hell and also fed the players a sense of dread and hopelessness, but grew the determination to make sure next time your character doesn't suffer only to take the miserable end to his journey of survival. However, this feature was also teased to us with No More Room in Hell 2 developer gameplays before the shift of game studios. Again, it was a shocker for most of the community as this feature wasn't included either. Inability to unload equipped gun. In the original entry, you were not allowed to pick up the same variation of weapons. For example, you were not able to carry 2 Berettas in your pocket. Therefore, if you came across another Beretta pistol upon your journey to escape, you could unload the current withheld weapon, drop it, and pick up the other Beretta that potentially contained ammo within, allowing you to stack up more ammo in your inventory, but also allow other players to have weapon of some sort, as this feature didn't permit you to be a weapon hoarder. With the sequel, this feature is completely absent, and also useless if included anyway. Even if you were able to unload your weapons, you had plenty of ammo to find in each location, as they all for some reason contained a room full of supplies, stashed with weapons, medical items, and loads of ammunition for you to run and gun, making hordes of zombies less of a threat. Melee overhaul. No longer possible to charge melee. There are no variations of charge and swing attacks. What I'm referring to is, in the original entry, you were allowed to hold your mouse button to charge your melee attack. The longer you held, the powerful the swing became, at the cost of your stamina that balanced this feature, allowing you to give a killer swing to zombies. In the sequel, despite how wonderful the animations are, melee felt useless, with each melee having its stabilized damage value set to them. You're only provided with swing, heavy attack that doesn't feel like it is, and shove abilities. Not possible to charge your attacks, and most melee weapons you use seem as if they only tickle the zombies besides resurfacing their brain matter. However, unstabilized hit detection and registry is an additional negative factor to the combat. I couldn't tell whether I was hitting them or not. Inventory and stamina overhaul. Inventory had been overhauled to be more arcadey and modern in the sequel. Stamina had become less of a consideration when it came to sprinting, and it only had been utilized for actions such as swinging the melee weapons or shoving the zombies. Even though the original entry didn't have the best UI design for inventory, it made sense. There are limitations on what you can grab in the original entry. You weren't allowed to pick up the same variant of weapon more than once, and this feature allowed players to have weapons, even if everything else was taken. You had your fists, despite it wasn't being the strongest option to deal with zombies, unlike the sequel where you can't punch your way through but only shove zombies away. However, the inventory system wasn't just about items you took, but also the space it claimed within. Smaller the gray space availability also meant heavier your character had become. After all, you weren't equipped with backpacks or pouches. As a standard civilian, you were only able to carry so much with you. Depending on the amount of items you carried, your stamina was heavily affected, increasing the cost of stamina while melee attacking or sprinting significantly slower, getting tired quickly while doing so. CRC responders, absence of regularity, civilians. We spawn as civilians who are trained for casualties. We know how to handle weapons efficiently. We came prepared with backpack, flashlights, pipe as MLA for self-protection, compasses on our right arm, and walkie-talkies to be assigned various tasks via CRC overhead. Starting a game as a responder gives you the sense of confidence. With unlimited sprinting, easily capable of finding guns and ammunition within the sequel, you weren't anybody important in the original entry. You weren't weren't equipped with anything. No backpacks, no walkie-talkies, no special perks like becoming an engineer, nurse, etc. Only your fists and a lighter in your pocket as your only light source, making your survival due by locating the nearest melee weapon or firearms. We aren't prepared for such an apocalypse. Our breath control is all over the place, easily tired when swinging a melee. We take too long to heal ourselves with medical equipment, and only with theoretical knowledge of handling firearms and ammo reserving, we are forced to get familiar with firearms to make our way to the extraction zone. The feeling of worthlessness growing onto the hope of survival as you withstand hordes of zombies despite your lack of experience is what made the game feel iconic. Live servers and matchmaking. No offline server hosting. Anyone familiar with Chivalry 2 is also familiar with Torn Banner Studios, struggling to fix server issues in 2 years with that game. The original version of No More Room in Hell allowed for hosting servers and playing in offline mode, or unofficial servers with up to 8 players. When a game struggles to perform well and is forced onto live servers, it can take more than 5 to 10 minutes to find a match. Given the negative launch of the sequel and the reduced player count due to lack of content, it took me a maximum of 10 minutes to find a match. What made No More Room in Hell replayable for me was the ability to get familiar with the game on my own. Whenever I wanted friends to join me, I was capable of hosting via port forwarding or joining an official server. Whenever there was an available internet nearby, it was possible to also play offline LAN if you had the spare computer or laptop nearby. We were not bound to wait for a game to have full lobby to start playing. You have awakened in the middle of the night by distant screams of neighbors and people you've been familiar with. Swiftly pulling the curtain aside, you become a witness to hordes of zombies. Your TV, your radio, your phone, every device you have nearby is broadcasting an emergency evacuation protocol. You have no choice but to get out of there and make it to the extraction location. The tense sensation of walking between hordes of zombies is getting uncontrollable. Along with the fear of being grabbed, which could lead to short-lived suffering and sudden demise, such fate could be witnessed by other civilians to observe your potential transformation or death. As others could watch you reanimate from the damage received upon your journey to extraction, you potentially could become an example to fading hope of survival. A glimmer of excitement amid your slow-paced progress through the rundown city, slowly fading into nothingness. There is a constant anxiety as you check your remaining shots while pacing through the outskirts of the city. Every close encounter with a zombie is tense. You can never be sure if they will swing at you or grab hold. A rush of dread courses through your veins each time you fail to evade a zombie bite. And you find yourself praying silently that you aren't infected. Each swing from the child zombies resulted in a rush of blood, as every hit could cause a bleeding status that could not be stopped until a bandage was found. Unable to run, hearing heavy footsteps that are getting faster behind you. Nothing to patch yourself up with, ammunition is getting scarce, you think to yourself, are you going to give in and become a feast to the zombies? Are you going to define your fate and end it right there with dignity? Or are you going to make do with whatever is left on you, attempting to push on with a glimmer of hope and trust in your limited skills? This is the feeling that was not delivered to us. These were the assurances we have been given. Environmental storytelling, ambience, slow-paced gameplay to a couple of survivors and their limited capabilities, working together to make their way to extraction. Instead, we have been given moments that were lacking the refrain of miserable sentiments, running around with packed ammunition, an 8-man army clearing up a town of zombies, mindlessly completing objectives and saving the day by fixing up a nuclear plant under the influence of a promised extraction. I paid the full price, expecting the promises of everything mentioned in this video. I only met with disappointment besides everything else. This game is incomplete.